Many students think that just because you didn't get into your top choice of college as a senior, the door is closed. Well, I'm here telling you that that's absolutely not true. Depending on where you're looking to go, yes, next fall as a senior might be disappointing for you, but I can help you frame it as a long term plan, a plan that in 12 months from now, or in 24 months from now, depending on the school, you could be looking forward to starting at your top choice. So let's get right into it. Applying to college from high school and getting in is not easy. There's many things you have to do. Not only do you have to have the grades and the scores, but you need to make sure that you have the extracurriculars, the recommendations, and all of my students do a project, but that's a story for another video. You need to stand out amongst all of the other kids in high school. And the reason it's so competitive is colleges are taking a risk. Let me explain. Colleges get ranked on many factors. One of those factors is how many students start freshman year and how many students end senior year. Colleges don't know if you're going to be able to be one of those students. In fact, many times top students who have the grades and GPA, colleges don't know if that's because mom and dad are standing over your shoulder, making sure that you're doing everything correctly. So, even if you're a top student, it is a gamble for colleges to let you in because they don't know if you're going to be able to handle the workload. But there's another pathway, a smarter way that requires sacrifice and smarter in terms of increasing your odds of admission if you didn't get in right out of high school. And that way is transferring. Now, why is transferring such a great option for colleges? Colleges have open spots every year that they need to fill with students. They need paying students in every open spot. So, with the shell game of letting in high school students and students applying to many schools and colleges not knowing if those students are going to accept the offer, they always have open spots, and those spots go to transfer students. And why is it such a smarter gamble, still a gamble, but a smarter bet for colleges to take a transfer student from a college, from another college? Why? Because colleges have the proof that you can handle college level work. Whether you go to Harvard or whether you go to a school that is not Harvard, as an undergraduate, you're pretty much going to be doing the same things. The workload is going to be different sometimes. The type of students you're going to be around are going to be different sometimes, but undergraduate subjects do not vary from college to college. English is English, math is math, physics is physics, biology is biology, history, political science, economics, etc. So if you can demonstrate a track record of doing well in college, that is all that's required pretty much as a transfer student. So let's take a look at what the steps would be to be a transfer student. You can transfer to public non-California colleges and all private colleges and universities after one semester of your freshman year. So let's take an example. Let's say that your top choice was NYU, but you didn't get into NYU. You did, however, get into George Washington University. That first semester at George Washington University, you work your ass off. You make sure that you get damn close to a 4.0. And if you got into George Washington University, chances are you can do that. You want to sacrifice your first semester of your freshman year and spend as much time studying as possible and making friends with and acquaintances with some of your professors because you're going to need recommendations. But let's say after that first semester, you got all A's and one B, and your GPA is something like a 3.8. Then you apply to NYU as a transfer student by March 1st. And all that NYU looks at, they don't look at whether it's NYU, Vanderbilt, Washington, St. Louis, Pomona College, Boston College, University of Michigan, Emory, University of Virginia. All they look at is your first semester grades plus a recommendation. There's no SATs, no extracurriculars. Yes, there's an essay you have to write, but it is way less of a gamble for a college that sees that you're able to handle the coursework at a place like George Washington University, or let's say you wanted to transfer from NYU to Pomona College. The same logic applies. So again, the timeline for that is, and I'm going to get into the other category of school, which is UC and Cal States. The requirements for those are a little bit different, but for all non-UC and non-Cal State schools, so we're talking about private universities and private colleges and public universities outside of California, you can apply after only one semester. You can also apply after your first year. But if you're looking to have a solid plan now as a senior to get where you want to go, you want to be focused on, okay, I'm going to use my freshman year to work my ass off to make sure that I get in as a transfer student. And if you have above a 3.7, your chances of getting into those schools I named, Washington, St. Louis, Boston College, University of Michigan, NYU, Pomona College, Claremont McKenna College, are much, much higher than as a high school senior. So you start your first semester, you get great grades. Then once your grades are set in January, then you apply by March 1st to those schools. And guess what? You will hear by April 15th. So this time next year, you can know that, yes, you sacrificed a year, but guess what? You're starting your dream school next fall. Okay, now what happens if your dream school is Cal Poly, SDSU, UCLA, UC Irvine, UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, or UC Berkeley? Then the same exact rules apply, except you add an extra year. So UCs and Cal States require a minimum of 60 credits. So you'd apply the fall of your sophomore year to one of those schools. And if you have above a 3.5 or higher, your chances are extremely high at those schools. For UCLA and Berkeley, it's much higher GPA is required. However, they have an interest. California has an interest in, depending on where you're transferring from. In another video, I will talk about a guaranteed way. In this business, there are few guarantees, but there is one guarantee with UCs, places like UC Santa Barbara and UC Davis. It's called the Transfer Admissions Guarantee. And that is if you go to a community college in California and you earn above a 3.4, you're guaranteed admission to a place like UC Santa Barbara. But that's a topic for another video. What we're talking about now is transferring from any other college to a UC. So again, the same rules apply. You need a 3.5 to 3.7 or higher. But if you can swing that your freshman year, because again, for these schools, it's another entire year. So instead of applying March of your freshman year, you apply November of your sophomore year, and you will hear by April. So if you didn't get into where you want to go, and you're going to a Cal State school that's not that well known, for example, guess what? With hard work, in 2 years, you could be in a better position than the best students in your class right now. And in this country, Americans, despite what your counselors might tell you, despite what your teachers might tell you, aside from a few professions, maybe like engineering and computer science, but every other profession and society in general, people don't care what you majored in. They care where you went to school. Your college degree stays with you forever. Those 3 or 4 letters are important. NYU, UCSB, UCLA, Cal, etc. Those will stay with you for a lifetime. So if you are disappointed, don't worry. You can still make it happen and actually end up in a better spot than you ever thought possible, and maybe even doing better than the students that you think are ahead of you right now. This is a long game, College is a long time, it's 4 years. Some people even do it in 5 years. And as a transfer student, life gets a lot more simple. What is the sacrifice? Because there is a sacrifice. The sacrifice is that you're not starting freshman year, so you're going to have to start a whole new place. However, I can tell you from experience, because I was a transfer student, I did not get into my top choice right out of high school, but I did this plan. And 3 years later, I graduated at the top of my class in history from NYU. So this is possible, it's doable. And guess what? Places like USC, NYU, UCLA, they take tens of thousands. NYU and USC don't, but combined, tens of thousands of transfer students. People do this because also you never really know if where you're going is the right choice for you. We do the best that we can to make sure that it is, but the only way to know is to actually be there. So just remember, you're never trapped. Transferring is always an option. It's not the first choice option, but students come to me every year who maybe they got bad advice from their counselor, they weren't working with me, so they got bad advice, or they picked the wrong school, whatever, and we make this 12-month plan or 24-month plan to get where you want to go. It is all possible. So again, my name is Rick Gelber. I'm the founder of Prestige Admissions, and I help students all over the country get into the best schools in the world. If you're interested in learning more, please visit prestigeadmissions.com, and I will see you on the next video.